So, while doing housework this morning, I was listening to MSNBC. I came across this. I found it interesting.
Let's just turn here a little bit to the where the race stands now, Maria, because there's been some. I listed some of the interesting polling that I think is interesting. I think it's Democrats coming back home. When you look at Latino voters, when you look at Black voters, when you look at young voters, one of the things that jumped out to me in that USA Today poll is that Harris is leading low-income voters, 58 to 35%.
Sample size, where is it? USA Today, Suffolk University, August 25th through the 28th, and margin of error between a positive or negative 9.02%. What is the sample size? Okay, that's my first question.
You've been out there on the trail.
Among lower income voters, what does lower income mean? What is that definition?
You've been talking to people. What stuck out to you either about that poll or kind of what you're seeing out there right now coming into Labor Day and the path ahead?
So what we found really interesting was right before the convention, she was at 60%. Independents were at 7%, and Trump was at 29%. So she is taking away not just from the independents, but she's taking from Trump. And that was before the bump. And this was a poll that Voto Latino conducted with 2,000 voters in battleground states, in Georgia, in North Carolina.
2,000 voters. A sample size of 2,000 voters. How many people out there are statisticians? I'm a statistician. A sample size of 2,000 when you're talking about a country of voters? Gee, 81 million votes? But you're going to take a sample size of 2,000. Oh, good luck with your poll.
In Arizona and Nevada. What we're seeing since then is even more appetite for her because she's talking to them in a way that makes sense. This, we haven't covered it enough.
She's talking to them in a way that makes sense. Define that. We've seen celebrities, twerking, vibes, joy, not a lot on policy, a lot of abortion, and a lot of, what do you call them? Social program promises. Mainly to people who are not even United States citizens. So who is she talking to?
But the fact that she's giving them a platform and saying, we're going to build more affordable housing, we're going to talk about rent controls all the way down the line.
We're going to build more affordable housing. A government official saying we're going to build more affordable housing. Government subsidized housing. Welfare? Is that what she's talking about? We're going to have a expanded welfare system? And for people who have lived in government housing, how did that work out for you? How's that working out for you right now? Tell me about your joy of living in government housing. Affordable, i.e., cheap. Cheap quality, cheap build, not going to last, messy, problems with mold. Delightful.
That is what we have found, that young voters, Black and Latino, 18 to 29, housing is their number one issue.
18 to 29-year-old voters who are probably not versed in property acquisition or what to look for when acquiring a property. That's our market. The people who Kamala Harris called stupid. Great.
Normally, you think that housing is something that you struggle in your 30s and your 40s, but the fact that she's hitting them exactly where they are speaks to not only who she is, right? Like this idea that she is a woman of color, that she has an immigrant experience, that she can talk to them.
What? She has an immigrant experience? Hold up.
This idea that she is a woman of color, that she has an immigrant experience, that she can talk to them in code, but then she's also
Why did that
translating
skip?
it
Go back, go back, go back, go back, go back.
that you struggle in your 30s and your 40s. But the fact that she's hitting them exactly where they are speaks to not only who she is, right? Like this idea that she is a woman of color, that she has an immigrant experience, that she can talk to them in code, but then she's
That she can talk to them in code. That she has an immigrant experience. Tell me about Kamala Harris's immigrant experience. I'm interested. That interests me. How does Kamala Harris have an immigrant experience? Huh? Tell me about her personal journey from another country to this country. Tell me about. I'm curious because we don't have any presidents who have an immigrant experience. If you're not born here, you don't get to be president here. So I'm very curious about Kamala Harris's immigrant experience. Please tell me more. Elucidate.
also translating it and meeting them where they are with their bread and butter issues that's impacting them.
Yeah, it's such an interesting point because we've long talked about this presidential race not being about policy issues between Harris and Trump.
Right.
But there are some issues. I mean,
We've long talked about this not being about policy issues between Harris and Trump. I'd like to hear some policies. I'd like to hear some broad-based international policies. I'd like to hear the policies. I would really like to know who the candidate is when it comes to policies. I really don't care about who the person is as a person. I want to know what they're going to do. I want to know what their policies are. I want that very clear.
about rural health care on this bus tour. You're talking about
World healthcare? Why the hell Kamala Harris be talking about world healthcare? And then having Tim Walz as a VP? Oh, Mr. Here, let's just like lock everyone down over the sniffles walls. Mr. And then considering that the mandates were lifted and these people wanted to keep them going, keep people locked down. Oh, hell no. World healthcare, my ass.
economic issues that a lot of Latino voters are responding to. How do you explain this kind of big swing among Latino voters in this poll?
So what we found, again, when Biden was on top of the ticket, was not that the people were defecting to the Republican Party, but more that they were interested in third party. And it was women, Latina women, that were defecting to third party.
Okay, we're still talking about a sample size of 2,000 voters, I suspect. Unless they're talking about something else completely, because in the beginning of this video, they were talking about a sample size of 2,000 voters. So how many Latinas were in that sample?
Because they were aligned with the Democratic issues, but they just felt that they needed something fresh. And that Biden, while great policy, they didn't know his policy. What we found most interesting, and
While great policy, they didn't know his policy. 81 million votes. Wow.
this is why her defining herself on this first interview last night was so important, was that people loved her, but they don't know who she is. So she's a blank slate. That's the
Okay, we're going to get to this blank slate thing. What the hell was that? What is this? USA Today, Suffolk University. Okay, and now we've got August 25th to 28th. Okay, so the same time frame with margins of errors. Okay, are these like sequential? So 6.49 for the top, and then 9.14 for the center, and then 8.98 for the final. Again, what is the sample size on this one? And this only adds up to 88%. This one, let's see. These don't even equate. Oh my gosh. I hate it when things don't come up to 100%. It's like what is the difference when you're trying to add your samples out to 100% for coverage, and then you leave like this one 88%. Well, where's the other 12%? It's like, that's not the 12%. Where's the other 12%? That's, and then you've got like an error, margin of error of 8.98 on top of the missing 12% from this calculation right here. Let's see, 10, that's what, 90, that's 90. So that's like missing 10% on this one. And then let's see, this one is like, okay, so 1585. You're missing 15% on this one. Oh, for freak's sake. Oh my gosh.
But they don't know who she is. So she's a blank slate. That's the best thing for an opportunity for her, because unlike him,
They don't know who Kamala is. She's a blank slate. That's her best opportunity. No, she's not really a blank slate, though. I mean, she's really not a blank slate because she has history, because you can see her, because you can see that for the most part, she's done nothing positive for the United States of America. Oh, she's not a blank slate. Now, she might be a dirty dish towel sitting on someone's shoe somewhere in a gutter with a tumbleweave, but she's definitely not a blank slate, I must say.
30 years of baggage because the right defined her, she has an opportunity now to say, this is what I stand for. And this is, we haven't talked about it.
This is what I stand for. We've already heard what you stand for. When it comes to fracking, you're trying to bury that old chestnut. Oh, please. Oh, please. This is what I stand for now. I have no core values. My values have remained the same. My values are unchanged. Yes, Kamala, yes, you're a lying whore. Those are your values. Oh, what a platform to stand on.
Enough, but it also makes it harder for the far right and for foreign agents to define her on TikTok and on social media platforms, because she's speaking to them directly.
That's a key.
Okay, so she's using TikTok and social media to speak to people. Great. What is she saying? Let me get your collard greens for your friends, and let me go and wash them in the same bathtub where my husband and I clean our asses. You're my best friend. Let me make you some ass greens. Yeah, just like my feet have been all up in here. Your greens have been all over everything that my ass and feet have touched. And, I've blown my nose in the tub. It's like, oh, you don't know. I might have Kamala Harris, her husband, they might have shit in that tub, pissed in that tub for all you know. You don't know what happens. You just tell me. You tell me. What kind of person, if someone said, yes, I made you dinner, isn't it good? I rinsed it in my bathtub. Gross. Gross.
You got to fill the space. We have to sneak in a very quick break. Everyone's staying with me. We'll talk more about the.
And that woman right down there in the lower left-hand corner, at least I believe it's the left hand. I don't know how this is going to transmit. I just want to say, my big Jew glasses are much larger than your big Jew glasses, but I do enjoy your necklace. Anyway, aside from that, whatever.